Leute vom Munitionsdepot!
Unsere Truppen überqueren Europa mit Krieg. Stören Sie mich nicht so laut! Seine erbärmlichen Tommy-Truppen.
Und nehmen Sie nicht mal Kopf!
Sounds like stealth mode's over.
So, for my review of the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, I was going to use the Seawolves to compare and contrast. Released in 1980, it's a ridiculous, over-the-top war movie trying to emulate earlier films such as The Guns of Navarone.
Look, why don't you just tell us what it is?
All right then, it was the Guns of Navarone! Satisfying!
To the point of casting an aging Gregory Peck and David Niven, leading a geriatric cast of British actors in a story based very loosely, and I mean very loosely, on real events during the Second World War. When the producers cast a 53-year-old Roger Moore in order to capture the youth market, you know there's a problem. Unsurprisingly, The Seawolves was a calamitous flop. But it's also the perfect example on how not to make a war movie, especially one based on a true story. But then I saw the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and I quickly realised to do a comparison would be an insult to the Seawolves. With all the interest in Deadpool and Wolverine last weekend, and with almost every performance sold out, myself and my wife decided we'd wait a week before we go see it, and let all the hubbub die down. Instead, we decided to stay at home and watch the new Amazon Prime release, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. So, what did I think? Early 1942, and the Second World War does not go well for the Allies. The United States is unable to send reinforcements or supplies until the U-boat threat from the Nazi-controlled African coast is curtailed. With the backing of Winston Churchill, Gus Phillips, played by Henry Cavill, leads a ragtag squad of rogues to destroy the ship, supplying the U-boat fleet. In April this year, just as the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare was about to be released in US cinemas, it was revealed that Lionsgate, the production company behind it, had signed an 8-figure deal with Amazon Prime for international rights. This left a lot of people, yours truly included, wondering would the ministry get a cinematic release in Ireland and the UK? Well, after the film flopped in the States, taking just over $20 million against an estimated budget of $60 million, the answer was a pretty obvious no. And after seeing the film this weekend, I can see why. I truly don't know where to start with this review. There are so many problems on so many levels. Guy Ritchie, from the very start, from the Ennio Morricone style score to the complete twisting of historical fact, is very obviously trying to emulate films like Inglourious Bastards. Come to think of it, emulate is too kind a term. Complete rip-off is far more accurate. Yet ironically, in trying to copy Bastards' style, Ritchie inadvertently has created a film that does not even come close to Bastards. Instead, it resembles too well in quality the B-movie Italian spaghetti war films of the 60s and 70s that inspired Tarantino.
I have information for him. They forced away my property. I have nothing to do with it. I'm an old man. I do no harm. I want to live. The crazy one! Shoot him! Kill him! Don't let him get me! Shoot him! Please! Please!
And it's not helped by a screenplay that plays so fast and loose with the facts and the book it's based on that it begins to insult the viewer's intelligence. In comparison, the disastrous Christian Slater comedy Churchill, The Hollywood Years from 2004, begins to look like a cutting-edge historical documentary.
When the winds of war blew through the sands of time, only one man could turn the tide.
Lieutenant Winston Churchill, the U.S. Marines. You got a problem with that, pal?
Substance has been replaced with caricature. Characters have no real personality, delivering dialogue from a screenplay as flat as the paper it's printed on. A perfect example is the real-life romance between Gus March Phillips and Marjorie Stewart, played by Eiza Gonzalez. After the mission they married, but here, There isn't even a hint of romantic attraction or even chemistry. I've seen dead fish with more passion. And the blame for all of this has to be shouldered by Guy Ritchie as co-writer and director. It is Ritchie who somehow thought Rory Kinnear's performance as Churchill was acceptable. By the way, one of the worst I have ever seen on screen. It is Ritchie who sets the tone so unevenly. One moment, the war, a very future civilization, rests on the success of this mission. The next, it's a breezy, light-hearted action comedy. Before hinting at disturbing taints of sadomasochism and a very real threat of sexual violence. All in a film, in particular with an utterly misjudged and pointless nightclub sequence that in style feels more like a Cinzano ad from the 1980s.
Oh, can't you just smell those Italian wines, suffused with herbs and spices from four continents? I'm being boring. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Getting your head down, sweetie. Jolly good idea.
There is never any real sense of danger or threat, despite characters constantly telling us how difficult it's going to be. And action sequences that feel straight out of a video game as our heroes mow down Nazi soldiers like they were in Hot Shots Part 2.
War. It's fantastic.
Order.
Is there anything good to say about the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare? Well, it has an astonishing opening sequence that sadly promises a far better film than we get. As for the main cast, there isn't a single weak performance, with Henry Cavill once again proving he has the charisma and talent of a leading man. But like Argyle earlier this year, he really should be getting better advice on what roles to take. Careless with history to the point of neglect, the real operation took place without a life being lost, but what could have been a cool true story with an Ocean's 11 style heist at its heart quickly turns into an overlong, sloppy, bog-standard piece of work, full of cliché and violence we have seen 1,000 times before. Now, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is available on Amazon Prime, and it gets my worst rating, simply because it could and should have been far better than this. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Don't waste your money on this.
Please, sir, I want some more.
More?
All right, stop it. Stop it right there. Go on, fill up the bowl.
And if you liked this episode of So What Did I Think and want to see more, please click like and subscribe. Remember, always subscribe. Thanks for watching.